Am I the a-hole for ripping up my brother's apology letter and screaming at him to just leave me alone? We aren't family? Context and a very short version. When I was 17, I was in a relationship with my twin brother's best friend Jake. It lasted 8 years, till we were all finished college and my ex had gotten enough money off his extremely religious parents to get a head start in life. If you don't know where this is going, my brother and Jake were together the whole time and used me as a cover because my feelings didn't matter. My brother had been out since his teens, which is why they came up with the idea to use me so his parents wouldn't get suspicious. My parents were angry with my brother, even cut contact for a year, but they all made up and have been pushing since for us to speak again. I refused to speak to my brother due to how they dismissed me. When everything came out, Jake literally said, "You wouldn't understand. I had no other choice." My brother was worse. Like, I get where Jake was coming from because his parents are nuts, but I didn't deserve to be treated like that. It's been 5 years since everything came out, and I'm currently pregnant with twins with my soon-to-be husband. My brother and Jake moved back to our hometown last year, and they both have been trying via my family/friends, even coworkers, to get me to talk. My mother begged me to sit down like an adult and not let the past ruin my son's chance at having a relationship with her uncle. That the hate I have for my only sibling is ruining our family and my mental health. Then a few hours ago, I stopped by for lunch and to show my parents scanned photos. And guess who was there? The happy couple. I was literally in shock for a few minutes. Then when my brother tried to hug me, I pushed him away. I got so worked up I physically couldn't stop shaking at this. My brother and Jake tried to apologize, talk about what happened, and beg for a relationship. I was in tears and begged them to leave me alone. At the end, my brother handed me a letter and said, "I really wish things could be different. You're my sister, my twin. I do love you and it kills me we don't have each other anymore." So basically, I lost it. Ripped up the letter screaming that we weren't family and I just want him to leave me alone. I walked out after that and had to get a taxi home because I was too upset to drive. Since then, my parents and family members have told me I'm cruel and bitter, that I need to stop living in the past and get over it. Now for the comments. Not today home. I feel sorry for Jake with his homophobic parents, but what he and your brother did to you is horrible. They betrayed your trust, both as a romantic partner and as a sibling. If they had told you the truth at age 16, you might have even offered to be a cover. But instead, they chose to lie to you for 8 years. No one, not your brother, not your parents, no one gets to determine when you should be over it. You are not obliged to accept any apology, ever. And tell your parents if they can't respect your feelings and your decision, they will no longer be part of you or your children's lives. I've actually have been asked this multiple times, and the honest truth is if they told me the truth from the get-go and asked me to be his fake girlfriend, I probably would have done it so my brother could have been happy. They took that choice away from you. You do not owe them forgiveness. Well, they haven't actually offered a straightforward apology. Might be a decent start. I'd hope he definitely not the a-hole and has 0 reasons to ever choose to receive it if they do. Not the a-hole. They're monsters. They stole 8 years from your life because there were like no other options. Now they're sorry? Yeah, right. Maybe they want something from you, like being their surrogates in the future. I would stay with no contact with them and low contact to no contact with your parents. You did not break your family. They did it. And now they're harassing you and putting your well-being in danger. Screw them all. Be strong. I didn't even think of that, to be honest. Well, they planned to use you once. With that kind of disgusting and horrible people, everything is possible. I'm so sorry, Opie. Not the a-hole. Your mother ambushed you. You should cut off the lot of them. I think I will with my parents till at least after I've given birth. Or I get it in writing that they won't try that again. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for walking out of my surprise birthday party? So it was my 20th female birthday today, and from the minute I woke up, nobody has acknowledged my birthday. I walked downstairs to my kitchen and my mom was reading her newspaper, ignoring me completely. She even had some demands about cooking and cleaning, so my day already started a little off. My dad and brother both ignored me as well. Normally, my dad wishes me at least a happy birthday, but today he just said nothing. My friends seem to have forgotten it as well, as they literally said nothing. My friend messaged me about some clothes, but nothing more. I just didn't feel special, as stupid as it sounds. It was the same at work. My colleague spoke about my birthday yesterday, yet today nobody acknowledged it or said anything. I just felt so miserable and ignored. So before heading home after work, I bought myself a small birthday cake just to treat myself and make it a little better. Well, when I got home and ready to just have a dip, my whole family/friends and colleagues were in my living room. They told me how they had been all excited to surprise me, but I just couldn't help myself but feel upset. They ignored me throughout the whole day, and now they want me to be all happy and chatty? I just walked out. I walked back to my car, and now I'm sitting in a McDonald's parking lot writing this. My phone is being blown up about me being the a-hole for walking out. I do feel kind of bad, but I just couldn't do it anymore. Should I have just sucked it up, or was I the a-hole for walking out? People seem to be confused about surprise parties in here. Surprise parties don't mean you go the whole day without acknowledging the birthday and making someone feel awful as a bit. It just means you don't acknowledge that there is a party that is going to take place. Lol, right? Some commenters seem to think the point of a surprise party is to make you feel absolutely awful about yourself first. Then when everyone yells, "Surprise!" you can feel happy and live again. Life is not a sitcom. I'd be feeling awkward if someone threw me a surprise party, because I would already have plans or plan to not have plans. I'm not the most sociable person anyway, so a surprise party just isn't me. Not stay home. People really need to stop going with plans that only happen/work in fiction. Normal people with their heads on right can still manage a surprise party while also saying happy birthday and the like. Nothing that happens implied plans or care, and it's very okay to be upset by the emotional whiplash. Please don't listen to anyone saying that not saying happy birthday when a surprise party is planned is normal. It's not. Correct. I have thrown and have had surprise parties thrown for me. Not once was the birthday guy/girl ignored all day beforehand. It's stupid and mean. I hate the idea of having a surprise party for myself, but I've helped throw them for several people who I know would love them. There's always been some setup first, and no one would ignore the person. For my moms, my dad pretended that they were going out to a fancy dinner, and they were just dropping me and my brother off at my grandparents' house for the night. The party was in their backyard. One of my close friends thought her boyfriend was taking her to brunch, which he was. It was just that a dozen of us were also there. Even the ones where the person came home to a big surprise, we usually found a way to make them think they were doing something sociable. So they were dressed and ready for some sort of something even without knowing that it was a party. Next story. Am I the a-hole for being mad at my parents because they withheld information about my medical history from me? I have had nose and sinus issues my entire life. I could never breathe out of my nose to the point where not only my smell and taste were almost non-existent, but I could only mouth breathe. I also had a snot 24/7. Sometimes it was like a leaky tap where it would not stop. I went through so much clothes and beddings because of getting snot all over everything and my clothes too. I got made fun of a lot at school, and it used to make my teachers angry. I was so self-conscious and didn't have any friends. My parents always said there was no cure or anything when they took me to the doctor. At the beginning of this year, I moved for a job. I grew up in Nevada and the job was in Louisiana. I got here a few weeks before my start date to get set up. This is where it started. Within days of moving here, I could breathe out of my nose. No more snot, and I can smell and taste. It freaked me out at first because this had never been possible in my life. I'm not a mouth breather anymore, and my sleep is not disturbed now. One of the good things about my job besides the pay is that it comes with insurance. I got a checkup at the dentist, the eye doctor, and a doctor for the first time since I was 12. I had these when I was a kid, but when I was about 12, my dad got a new job, but the insurance was not good. We only went to the doctor or dentist for major things like a broken bone. I was still on my dad's insurance before I got my job. My new doctor asked for my medical records if I had them. My first doctor was gone, but the building is still there, and they had mine from a long time ago. There wasn't much from the second. This is where I found out my parents lied to me. In my old records, it says a bunch of times the dry air hurts my sinuses. The doctor says a less dry climate would relieve them, but besides that, there is medication, and a humidifier would help. It says so over and over. They never told the second doctor this information either. I asked my parents about it, and they were angry that I got the medical records because they said it was private. My mom said they didn't try medication because it was too much of a hassle to remember to give me the pills. My dad said moving was out of the question since it would remove my sister from her friends, and a humidifier was too much work for mom. I'm not so self-centered to think they should have moved, but if I had this info when I was older, I could have been responsible for my own medication. And I would have moved from Nevada when I was 18 if I knew it would help. My parents must have told my sister everything because she blew up my phone with calls and messages, saying I shouldn't have snooped in the medical records. And mom and dad were right to tell me there was no cure because the medication and other stuff was too much to put on their plate. Am I the a-hole for being furious about this? If I knew, I could have taken steps to fix this when I was old enough. I'm also perturbed they think me not being able to breathe properly was no big deal. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Yes, those records were private, but they weren't private from you. Those are your records. Your parents were being very neglectful and awful. I'm so glad you can live your new life in a place that is healthy for you. My mom said they didn't try medication because it was too much of a hassle to remember to give me the pills. They had various medical interventions available, yet they chose to neglect OP's needs because it was an inconvenience. The gall on them to get mad at OP. Humidifier was too much work for mom. You put water in a tank and plug it in. Hell, OP probably could have done it himself. Some people should not be parents. Yeah, I learned to operate a basic one at like age 4. And the medicine regimen for dry sinuses usually isn't terribly difficult either. I got seasonally dry sinuses. Doctor just told us to get OTC saline spray and come back if it didn't clear up for a prescription. Even pills in kids aren't that bad. After dry sinus season, we went immediately to pollen hell season, and mom just plopped our breakfast down on the kitchen table with a side of Claritin. Of all the medical conditions that a child can have, I feel like dry sinuses should have been one of the easiest to manage. They didn't try medication because it was too much of a hassle and a humidifier was too much work for mom. Apparently being a parent was too much work for them as well. This is negligence, plain and simple, not a hole. Yes, this is straight up negligence. As in, if CPS had found out about this, it would have been a problem. Negligence. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for letting my niece drink and watch graphic movie? I was spending a weekend at our family's cabin with my sister's family. They came in a few hours after me, 37 female, and realized they left a bunch of stuff they needed, so they were going to drive into the nearest town for them. My niece, 23, wanted to stay behind to enjoy the lake, so they left her behind. But it started raining and there's no data or Wi-Fi at the cabin, so she complained there was nothing to do since she forgot to download something. I had my laptop with me that had a bunch of old movies on it and gave it to her. I didn't check what she was watching and she had her headphones in, so I didn't hear anything. I didn't bother to check either because I assumed she was an adult and could watch whatever she wanted anyway. Then she asked if she could get one of the beers I brought with me and some of the snacks, and I said okay and went to lay down. My sister, husband, and brother were back after maybe 1.5 hours and found her watching Girl with a Dragon Tattoo, 2009 version, and on her second beer. They were so mad and were yelling at her, until she said I gave her the laptop and said she could have some beer. And then they got mad at me saying she isn't allowed to drink, and the dirty movie was going to turn her into a cheap woman. I definitely remember drinking as a family with my nephew who is 21. Age of drinking is 19 as we live in British Columbia, Canada. I asked if she had a medical condition or are on meds, and they said no, but alcohol was bad so no one should drink. They dismissed when I asked why my nephew was drinking with us near the holidays if she wasn't allowed to, and they argued if they didn't let him drink at home, he would go out and get drunk and get into trouble anyway. But my niece was a good girl and wouldn't drink if it wasn't around. In my opinion, if my niece wants to drink, she can walk into any liquor store and get it anyway. So as long as she's not drinking too much, it shouldn't be a problem. But am I the a-hole for letting my niece drink and watch graphic movie? Not the a-hole. 23 is an adult. You weren't letting her do anything. She made a choice. This is hilarious. When I was 23, I went backpacking around Europe for 10 weeks on my own. Met up with friends here and there, but mostly on my own. When I got back, my younger brother had mentioned that a friend of his was shocked that my parents let me go. He basically had to explain to this girl that I lived on my own, in a different city, made my own money, and was a grown adult. There was absolutely nothing my parents could have done to stop me. Not that they wanted to. Absolutely not stay home. Not stay home. You didn't let anyone do anything. She's 23. Lol. She's been able to buy her own alcohol for almost 5 years. That's insane. And she has been able to watch an R-rated foreign films for almost 6 years. Not stay home. What the heck is wrong with your sister? That's wildly creepy, calling a grown woman a good girl as a parent. That is disgusting. She's not a child. Low-key perverted, like they want to keep her purity or something. Nasty AF. Very weird. And watching girl with a dragon tattoo will turn her into a cheap woman? What planet do they live on? And why does niece put up with this at 23? Not stay home. As someone who tolerated this into their 20s, you think it's normal until you can get away. Then you realize it's messed up.
Am I the a-hole for selling my house to get rid of my stepchildren? My wife passed away in November of 2022. She left me 3 adult stepchildren who have all been very clear that I am not their parent despite being in their lives for over 10 years. Their father has retired to the Philippines. They are 21, 22, and 25. Their mother and I have been helping them out with a place to live because our city is very high cost of living. The youngest is in school still, but the other 2 are employed. After their mother passed away, they stopped doing anything around the house. We had been charging no rent so they could save money. The older 2 were responsible for their own bills other than that. I paid power, water, internet, all the utilities. We even provided food for the youngest. Now they do nothing to help around the house. I have had to hire a cleaning lady to help. It's stupid, so I put the house up for sale. The price has gone up so much since I bought it that I could retire to the Philippines if that was my thing. It took no time at all to sell, and I'm moving out to my cabin. I gave each kid $10,000 and told them that the house was sold. They aren't idiots. They had seen the for sale sign and been around for the open houses. Now they are getting upset with me for throwing them out of their home. I guess they did some of their growing up there, but they never treated it like much more than a place to sleep. I think that their mom would be disgusted with how they treated me and our home. They pulled their money and got an apartment, but if they count on only the money I gave them, they will have nothing in a year. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. You're a saint for giving them 10K each, not the a-hole. I wasn't going to toss them in the street or anything. I've known them all for 10 years. Raise your hand if your parents gave you $10,000 when you moved out. No hands? You separated from leeches, not the a-hole. Right? I joined the Marine Corps and left with the cloths on my back. That was it. Navy at 18. 2 years later, I'm operating a nuclear power plant. Time for them to grow up. Not the a-hole. They were disrespectful to you and your home, and you weren't obligated to continue providing for them, especially after they became adults. You were already not the a-hole even before I got to the part where you gave them each $10,000. That's a whole heck of a lot more generous than I would have been. When they stopped doing anything around the house after their mother passed, they were showing you, we only did that for our mom and she's not here now, so screw you, OP. They are grown adults and not your responsibility, even if they were your bio kids. I know a man who sold his house when his wife passed to get his own bio adult kids out. They were in their 40s, and he didn't give them any money. He told them they had decades to save, and if they didn't, that's on them. Move to your cabin and relax. Look at $10,000 each as a last gift you gave them for their mother. They will learn to stand on their own feet, and if they don't, they are not your responsibility. Next story. Am I the a-hole for cashing out, enjoying life, and not giving anything to my daughter? I, female 57, lost my husband of 25 years last year. We have a daughter, female 24, who's married for 2 years. My son passed away after her marriage, and it has been hell ever since. Our relationship with daughter was very good and without any incidents before her marriage. She was sweet and loving and was a great daughter overall. She got married to the man of her choice. After that, it has all been downhill. She stopped coming to our house, stopped responding to our texts and calls, going almost no contact. We weren't rich. Although my husband had a lot of assets, they haven't been liquidated. When he died, he didn't leave a will because it was so unexpected. After his death, my dear daughter didn't even attend his funeral, nor in any other functions. She didn't even call to ask how I was. Barely 6 months after my hubby's passing, she and son-in-law barged into our house and brought with them a lawyer who told me to sign on some documents in a blank sheet. I know the legal processes and I'm not ignorant. I asked her what was in that document. I don't know what I did, but here she was, demanding me to sign some unknown docs in a blank sheet and not answering any questions. I asked the lawyer what it was about. He said it was for transferring all the assets in her and son-in-law's name. I said no, and here is when it got violent. She attacked me, and I had to scream for help. I didn't call the cops, but told her to get out before I did. She was adamant about me signing and tried to take my thumb impression. At this point, my neighbors had come over and had witnessed pretty much the last part of forcing. My neighbor, bless his heart, physically kicked them out. After this, I was shaken and very hurt. I don't know what I did, and I was honestly scared for my life. She kept sending me messages, though not threatening, because maybe her lawyer told her so. She kept on sending sweet messages, thanking me for making her the beneficiary, transferring all assets to her, etc. I was disgusted. A week of harassment later, I decided I had enough. I wanted out. So I met my lawyer. He said since there was no will, I was the sole owner of all assets and could do as I wish. Long story short, I sold everything, made 8 figures, bought a new house in a place that I always wanted to be, far from everyone. Now I plan to enjoy the rest of my life traveling and generally doing things I haven't been able to do but which I've always wanted to do. I recently heard through the gossip vine that my daughter tried to start litigation against me shortly after I sold and left, but it fell through, as everything was in my name now. She now wants to meet me and is pressuring her lackeys to contact me and make me meet her. I said no. I don't understand why she did that, because it was all going to be hers anyway. They don't know where I am presently, and I'd prefer to keep it that way. I'm no contact with her and son-in-law, and don't have social media except Reddit. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Amount is not in dollars. If converted, it would come around lower 7 figures. No, I'm not from the US, and English is not my first language. Not a-hole. Suggest you leave all your money to a refuge for abused women. As for your daughter, she can whistle. I'm thinking of doing that. It's too much money for me to spend. I'd probably do whatever I want, then donate it or open an old age home and leave it all there. Please report that lawyer to his office and the bar association. OP, listen to this comment. The lawyer not only witnessed you get assaulted, they try to get your signature under duress, which is a huge no-no. Then, after witnessing this, was seemingly okay with his client directly contacting you trying to fabricate a paper trail. Assuming he was even a real lawyer. Please get your lawyer to prepare a will for you and all the relevant powers of attorney. Make it very clear in the will your daughter is not inheriting anything and why, and name who your beneficiaries are. And a living will as well. OP should not want her daughter and sharkish son-in-law to make decisions for her in her old age. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not letting my ex's daughter live with us? My ex and I are divorcing. My daughter, 17, and I are in the process of moving our stuff into our new place. I got one of those moving pods that's out to the front of the old house. My stepdaughter, 15, started moving her stuff out to it. I told her to stop. At first, I thought she was confused and thought it was for her and her mom's stuff. The plan was for them to move back to my ex's home state. My stepdaughter wasn't confused about that though. She thought for some reason that she could move with me and my daughter to our new house in town. So we got into a whole discussion about it. My ex was involved. Turns out her daughter is very upset about having to move because she doesn't want to leave her friends, her school, and go to a place that is so backwards. After talking, my ex said she understood where she was coming from and asked me to let her live with us at least during school year. First off, I think it would be weird for her to live with us since her mom and I aren't married anymore. It makes more sense for her to go live where both her parents are. Logistically, it also presents an issue because our new place is smaller than this one, so she would have to share a bedroom with my daughter. I know my daughter would hate that, so it doesn't seem fair to force that on her. And because people keep asking, we got married about 6 years ago. My ex did also say she would pay for expenses. Please stop suggesting I get a bigger place. I just bought our new place. I am not selling it and getting a different place. Now for the comments. Not a-hole. Where did she get the idea that somehow she was moving in with you? It's more that she thought it was an option. Her mom told her they were moving back to her home state. That means she views you as a parental figure, or at least a trusted caretaker. Don't be harsh with her for that. Not saying you should let her stay, but be kind about it. I wasn't harsh about it. Not a-hole. This is an issue her parents need to deal with, not a non-custodial unrelated former step-parent. Her parents are the a-holes for not telling her before it got to this. What kind of parents will wait till moving to discuss this? Like WTF? Who put it into the child's head that this was even an option? Sounds like my mom and dad are okay with pawning their daughter off an ex-step family. This is so weird. I would never be okay with this as a mother. Sigh, mine. Me, my brother and sister didn't know my parents were divorcing until moving day when me, my brother and mom moved to one apartment and my dad and sister moved to another. I'm so sorry. That must have been so traumatic for you all. It was, and my parents barely acknowledged it. It was just like, this is how things are going to be now. Next story. Am I the a-hole for going back on my word to help support my husband's affair baby? I found out female 42 that my husband male 44 was cheating on me with a girl female 25 he found on Tinder. He made himself out to be a rich guy, but actually he works for my father. When I found out, I asked for divorce. I found out that the girl was pregnant. She told me that she didn't know he was married, blah blah. I believed her, and I felt sorry for her because she doesn't have any money. I have 2 children, so I thought her baby was my children's sibling. I said that I would take care of them. Then I stumbled across all the texts between them, and actually she knew very early on that he was married, and she even stalked me in social media. He told her from the start that he was married and only wanted fun. She wanted more, and that's how I found out. Now I feel immense hatred and resentment towards her and her baby, and I don't want to help her anymore. I liked her, and she fooled me. But she only used me. I told her that I wasn't going to be helping her and wished her good luck. My husband will still have okay salary at his new work, and from what I understood, he is planning to have custody or at least shared custody of his child, so the baby will not be suffering, but just not rich. I asked her to not contact me again. She is raging about me taking back my promise and gathering lots of sympathy, and I don't know. I know the baby is innocent in this, but I feel resentful and bitter like I have been used twice. I am very sorry, but no. Not the a-hole. She cheated with her husband, caused your divorce in part, and then lied and manipulated you for money. Pretty rich that she now wants you to keep your word, which was given under false pretenses. She and her baby are not your responsibility, and you shouldn't support them because she tricked you into giving her the benefit of the doubt. Your husband probably coached her in order to maintain access to your money. My husband is the one who showed me the texts. So tell her that a promise was made under false pretenses. And she was after your money from the start. Didn't get rich man, but could go after a rich wife. You don't have to honor your promises to a lying gold digger who broke your family. You can even post the screenshots of her messages, or send them to people questioning your dignity. You can also volunteer these people to take care of the baby, if they think that strangers owe something to that lady. Not your husband, not your baby, so not your problem. That's basically what I felt. Even if it meant that I went back to my promise. You would have never been the a-hole, even if you said no to helping from the beginning. Definitely not the a-hole now. Last story. Am I the a-hole for listing lack of family support as one of the many reasons that I wasn't open to having a third baby? My husband and I had our son knowing that we wouldn't receive much or any family support. My father-in-law's ill, so that takes up my mother-in-law's energy, and his siblings are child-free and not really interested in kids. My family lives far away, and I never expected or received any help with babysitting, etc., except on the rare occasions that my parents come out to visit and give us a date night. Yes, it would be amazing if my husband's family was more involved, but I never thought anyone owed us any babysitting, and we made a choice to have kids with our eyes wide open. My husband's sister has offered to take our son a couple of times to give us a break, but ultimately flaked each time. At this point, I'm not really sure that I'd be comfortable leaving my son with her anyway, so it's not something I've pursued. I'm currently pregnant with our second son, and we told the in-laws we were having another boy during a family gathering. Everyone congratulated us, but kept asking if we were disappointed that we were having a girl. I repeatedly said no. I loved my son and was happy to have another boy, but they wouldn't drop the subject. And his sister kept hounding me about when we would be trying for the third so we could give the family a girl. I told her there wouldn't be a third since we were planning to stop at 2 kids. But she kept pursuing the topic 3 is better than 2, and you don't know what you'd be missing out to not having a daughter. I found this annoying because 1, my sister-in-law has no kids and is child-free by choice. And 2, nobody in the family pays much attention to the child we already have, so I'm not sure why they're so concerned about it either way. Sister-in-law kept hounding me, and I told her that it would be difficult for us to afford a third kid with daycare costs, limited family support, a small home, 2 working parents, etc. I didn't emphasize the family piece, but it was one of several reasons that I rattled off to explain our decision. She eventually dropped it, but texted me later that night to say that she felt targeted, since I knew that she wanted to babysit all those times, but something always came up. I said that was fine. My decision about the size of our family had nothing to do with her, and I never expected her to babysit, so I wasn't upset about it. Apparently, that response ticked her off even more, because now she's telling my mother-in-law and husband that I don't think she's a good aunt, and that's not a good reason to deprive the family of a girl. My husband says not to worry about it, and that's just how she is. But I probably shouldn't have mentioned family support if I didn't want to fight about it. You're currently pregnant, and they are already demanding you create another human? What the heck is wrong with them? Not the a-hole. I know, right? They had/are having 2 kids, with equal chance of having a boy or girl. Why is it now her job to keep having children to get one of the required gender? Especially coming from someone who has little interest in the nephew she already has. Especially with no guarantee that the third would be a girl. I guess she's just supposed to keep having them until she gets that girl. I once worked with a woman who has 4 sons, and yes, they were hoping for a girl, 3rd and 4th time. My childhood church had a lady with 5 boys, tried again for a girl and got twin boys. She gave up at that point and waited for daughter-in-laws. Not the a-hole. If she wants the family to have a girl, then she would have it. Sounds like there is something going on. Maybe she does want kids, but something is preventing that. I don't know. I've considered the same thing, but she talks a lot about not wanting kids because she wants to focus on her career and pursue her own interests. Her and her husband travel a lot and have a nice lifestyle, so I've always assumed it was a choice based on their own statements. Yeah, it could be, but she seems to be getting a bit weird about it if that's the case. It just gives me vibes, that's all I'm saying. Yeah, sounds like it could be rationalizing to me. Still, not that it's anyone's business if she doesn't choose to share it, but you never know what's going on in someone's head, even if the opposite is coming out of their mouth.
Am I the a-hole for refusing to take my ex-wife as +1 to my son's wedding? My son is 22, my daughter is 18. 6 years ago, my daughter caught my wife with another man. She told her brother, who understood what she had witnessed. Then they both came and told me. I verified that it was true, then I divorced my wife. During the divorce hearing, both of them expressed a desire to stay with me, so I was given primary custody, with my ex getting 1 week a month, and she moved in with the other guy. I have done my best to cut my ex out of my life. Our communication is limited to the bare minimum needed to coordinate custody and shared expenses, and I have never talked about our relationship to my kids. Initially, after the divorce, she told me that our kids were giving her hell when it was her custody, and that I needed to talk to them. I sat them down and asked if it was true, and they said they didn't want to stay there. But I explained that it would be best for everyone if they remained civil until they turned 18, so we wouldn't have to go back to court. I didn't get complaints after that, so it seemed to be working. When my son turned 18, he moved back in with me full-time and started college. He graduated now and is getting married in a few months. My daughter turned 18 last summer and moved back in with me full-time too. My ex-wife called me today, and she started crying saying that she was not invited to my son's wedding. Then she told me that my son hasn't talked to her in over a year. He has still been dropping in after turning 18 to visit his sister sometimes, but eventually stopped doing that too. Likewise, apparently my daughter stopped talking to her after turning 18 too. My ex-wife asked if I would bring her as my +1 so she could see her son getting married. But I told her that if my son didn't invite her, it wasn't my place to bring her. Then she started accusing me of turning them against her and threatening to take me to court. I just told her that there was no more custody agreement to take to court since both of them are above 18, and hung up. I sat down with both of them later and asked them if they had cut contact with their mother, and they both admitted it. I explained to them that they did not need to do that for my sake, and I still recognize she's their mother. But they both said they had talked about it a lot and their plan was always to hold out until they were 18. But they had no desire to be around her or the other guy because she had destroyed our family. I told them that they're adults, and if that's their decision, I won't pressure them to change it. I was telling my sister what happened, and to my surprise, she said my son wasn't being fair, that I should make him invite his mother to the wedding. Am I the a-hole for refusing the attempt? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. She had 6 years to figure out how to at least repair enough damage that her kids wouldn't go no contact the moment they were able. Sounds like the opposite happened. Not the a-hole. Your son should consider hiring security to ensure she doesn't crash the wedding or even come as your sister's +1. Not the a-hole, but your sister is. I don't know what is with people pushing family members to reconcile simply because they are blood related, but it's something that needs to stop. People are allowed to choose who they want in their lives, and just because someone helped create you doesn't mean you have to choose them. You should forgive family when they do something inconvenient or annoying. You can forgive family for doing something mildly stupid or embarrassing and they're sorry. But a-holes, especially unrepentant ones, do not get a free pass just because you're related. Not the a-hole. It seemed like you did your best to encourage them to have some contact with their mother. But they are adults now and can decide whether they want to or not, and they clearly decided. Next story. Am I the a-hole for insisting on meeting in public for custody exchanges? I, 31 male, am divorced from my ex, 33 female, for several years now. 50-50 custody of my 2 children, 13 male and 9 female, though it's defaulted to me having them 80% of the time since the divorce. The past few years have been littered with false CPS reports and them coming to my house talking to my children, just for a few weeks to go by and everything is closed and we move on, just for it to happen again. Then, we moved a few months ago. I disclosed my address to the court, and all parties involved except my ex. Since we moved, the CPS visits have stopped completely, but I keep in touch with a caseworker who's helped me with finding my son help with his mental health. Everything has been kosher for months. We've been using the school schedule for custody exchanges as it makes things easier. Then, I recently found out from my niece, ex's bio family, that my ex weaponized CPS to make my life hell. So now with the holiday, MLK landing on an exchange day, my ex is demanding to drop them off at my house. I've told her we can meet at a police department and do a secure exchange. There's marked parking spots with surveillance cameras and everything, and she's refusing, saying that I'm hiding things and she just needs to know. Am I the a-hole for insisting on all meetings and interaction be through monitored channels? Not the a-hole, and that is a very smart thing to do. Make sure you let the caseworker know that CPS calls coincidentally ended when the ex didn't know where you were. When you meet at a police department, make sure you don't go straight home. She or one of her friends may be following you to see where you live. I wish you the best. We're going grocery shopping first and maybe a pack of magic cards for my son. I considered I may be followed already, but I really do appreciate the forethought. If the kids have cell phones, check the location permissions in apps like Find My iPhone or any social media with location sharing. Location services are only on for Google services, which is connected to my account so I can find their devices. Had an incident where we had to find his phone by a friend's house last year, and since then I've been meticulous. Not the a-hole. Your ex has proven her egregious use of CPS, that she cannot be trusted. She's not looking out for your children. She's looking for ways to hurt you. Since this in turn hurts your children, continue to protect both of them and yourself. Keep meeting in public and keep your address private as long as possible. If there's any way to file charges against her or to get her to face consequences for her actions, please do so. Your ex is not only hurting you, but also children who genuinely need the intervention of CPS whose time and resources your ex continues to misuse. Unfortunately, misusing resources with CPS isn't chargeable because it's not emergency services. This is pretty much verbatim what the police department told me, but I'm pretty sure the officer just didn't want to get involved. Not the a-hole. I would normally say exes should know where one another lives, but this is no ordinary case. Keep meeting in public. When she complains, ask her what she is hiding. I actually just texted her this, and she responded with whatever. So I'm 99% sure this is a game to her. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my brother be part of the family business? First, some important info. I, 44 male, have a younger brother, 41 male, and we are the only children. Also, we are not from the US or any Western country. My father passed away almost 10 years ago. Since our mother was also dead, we divided his estate equally. His estate was a farm of 12 hectares, 30 acres. Back then, it had a house, a barn, a pond, wheat fields, and olive fields. We were both working office jobs in the city and did not want to be farmers. But after my dad died, my wife convinced me to quit, buy out my brother, and start a business with her, as she had degrees in business and hospitality while I was working in accounting. And that's what I did. I bought out my brother at market price. After that, my wife and I transformed the farm, got government subsidies to make our farm more sustainable, transformed the area by the pond into a garden and romantic strolling route and a fishing spot. The closest farm plots were made into a pedagogic farm, and some made available to guests to rent, built small houses, built a stable, and bought some horses. We made it into a retreat where you can either spend a day, act as a farmer and have some authentic food, or rent a cabin and try to farm life. The rest of the farm was left to farmhands. Since we are barely 2 hours outside city limits, it became a booming business. We were booked solid all year. We have schools coming for tours, activities every weekend, couples throwing their weddings here. And after the first 5 years, we were able to pay off our debt and are making great money. My brother used his money to buy a house, 2 cars, and on his children's schooling. And they are living well. I would say upper middle class by my country's standards, but nothing like me and my family. Now he says that he wants in on the business, that what he was paid was not fair. I told him no, that he got what his land was worth back then. Now he is no longer talking to me and he is the only family I have left. So am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. He got market value for his half. He used it up while you invested your time and money and now you are getting your return on investment. No need to feel guilty. Right. If it's the other way around and OP's business tanked, he would not have the right to ask his brother for money because he overpaid. Good on you, OP. His jealousy is not your responsibility, and you can focus on the family you have, and not the family who does not want to be there. Not the a-hole. The only way I could side with your brother would be if you took advantage of his grieving and bought a share. I do doubt this as a possibility, considering it must have taken some time for your wife to convince you to give up your career to suddenly become a farmer. Also, it's been 10 years, and he hasn't mentioned any regret during that time. I think it's clear your brother is having money troubles or perhaps a midlife crisis. Either way, he got a fair deal for his share. If he wants back in, he can offer to repurchase his half. OP says his brother is upper middle class, so I think it's regret for missing out on the opportunity. If OP never told him he and his wife had big plans when they bought out the brother, I can see why he feels a little resentful. That's pure speculation though. I asked about it elsewhere, so maybe OP will clarify. But brother wasn't forced to sell. I told him about our plans, but not in detail since we only had vague ideas then. Not the a-hole. If he had invested his half of the money into literally anything else, would he share the fruits of that investment with you? I don't think so. You had all the work transforming the place and you had all the risk of it not working too. Also, it definitely sounds like you invested some of your own money too to make all that possible. He wants all the fruits of the labor without doing any of the labor. I get that you don't want to lose him, so maybe there is a calm way to talk about all of this? With a mediator present or something like that. He needs to understand that you invested the money and succeeded. But I mean, you could have failed too. And if you did, would he just give you money from his half? Last story. Am I the a-hole? Active duty sister-in-law is mad her brother and I are having another baby. Background. My sister-in-law is a divorced single mother to a 2-year-old and is on active duty. She used to have friends that she would regularly leave her child with instead of us, because she also needed someone to feed and watch her 3 dogs, 4 indoor cats, and 3 to 4 outdoor cats. We watched the animals and a friend watched the kid. On multiple occasions, when this friend would fall through on childcare, she would call us the day off, and we would rearrange our lives, fight traffic, and get her kid because we wanted to help. When she has long underways, we made it clear we cannot watch her kid because my husband is also active duty and at work. I cannot drop my own kid off at school and drive 45 minutes to an hour across town to the military base and fight traffic to drop hers off and then get to work on time. Her child goes to the military base daycare facility, while my child goes to a public school 10 to 15 minutes from my house in the opposite direction of the base. His hours don't always allow him the ability to drop her kid off and pick her up. As for the current situation, my husband and I invited my sister-in-law and niece to our child's birthday party on Saturday. We also informed her we were newly pregnant again and mentioned that we had not told my in-laws yet. We assumed she would be excited to be an aunt again. She initially agreed, but my husband and I both noticed a tone change on the phone. We both assumed she had been just annoyed at her little one, since we could hear her trying to shop with her when we called. Later in the evening, she texts my husband and says she isn't coming to the party. He asks why, and she states that we had struggled to help her out with her child and having her a few times a week, but now we're having a whole baby we need to care for 24/7, and that she's hurt and needs some space and time. Of course, I personally could not leave this be and let her know her comments were selfish and did not depict the entire picture since we have repeatedly cared for her child on numerous occasions, sometimes with no notice. We have also cared for her animals. It has been made very clear I logistically can't drop ours off and hers off on 2 different sides of town. We have also cared for her animals. She's a 15 to 20 minute one-way drive for us, and sometimes we made multiple trips a day to her home to care for the animals. She snapped at my husband over text. She was angry he had told me what she had said. My husband explained to her that I asked why, and that he does not lie to me, so he told me what was going on. He then had a bad feeling at that point and called mother-in-law, only to find out that my sister-in-law had called and told her we were pregnant. My husband is also livid she told my in-laws about our pregnancy before we could. We were planning on announcing the second one in a cute way, and she's told that from us. Am I the a-hole for saying something to my sister-in-law to spark off this craziness? Should I have let it be? Just wondering what this woman's plan was when she decided to have a kid. Not the a-hole. She had a husband but got divorced. Took all 5 animals they had at a time. One that I know she got after she was speaking with a lawyer to get divorced. Then continued to get more animals. I'm not sure on the plan either. All that on top of being on active duty? Shaking my head. Definition of biting off more than she can chew. The hubs and I discuss this exact thing regularly. It's impulsive and doesn't make sense. I have a few animals as well, but I work from home and I'm almost always at home. Lol. The animals are my quirky co-workers at this point. Good grief. I am a single mom with 0 family around. Having any help at all would be amazing to me. Your sister-in-law sounds so entitled. Let your mother-in-law handle her and you guys enjoy the new addition to your family, not the a-hole. Thanks. We are super happy. I respect the single mom struggle as I do it when a husband deploys. My house gets a little messy, my Orkie's grooming appointments get a little infrequent, but my kid is clean, fed, and happy, and I'm making it work. I generally don't ask others to help me because I also don't have a large support system here. Talk to the ombudsman at your husband's command. They'll help you meet other wives and set up a support system to help while your husband is deployed. That's their job.
Update. I am leaving my fiancé of 8 years. Original post. For some quick background information, me, 28 male, and her, 28 female, have known each other since we were 13. We were best friends for years and we both dated during these times of being friends. I had girlfriends and she had boyfriends, but we were always close. Honestly, I think a lot of prior relationships failed because our partners couldn't handle the fact that our best friend was of the opposite gender. Anyway, after years of being best friends, we got drunk one evening while being home for college and slept together. It was the best I've ever had, and she says the same. After that, we joked about being friends with benefits. We did for a couple months, but our emotions started to really grow for each other, and we both admitted to always having a crush on each other. Everyone said we did anyway. So we started dating. We had what many would consider the perfect relationship. No real issues, and our arguments were few and far between, not to mention usually petty. A year ago, I proposed and she said yes, and we planned our wedding for the fall. So here we are. Anyway, we had our bachelorette parties about a month ago, and we told each other what we were going to do. Me and my buddies were going to the amusement park during the day, not going to say which one. Then go out drinking and riding four-wheelers and gators on trails. We only had a couple to be safe. We were by no means drunk. Then after that was done for the evening, we were going to go back to my place and barbecue, play board and card games and video games, and get smashed lol. My soon-to-be ex-fiancé plan was to go to the spa in the morning, go to the winery for the day and then go back to their hotel for the evening and order in room service and play games, I don't know what. We both insisted on no strippers. I for one do not really care, as I am a confident man and am confident in my package. My soon-to-be ex, however, didn't want me seeing other women naked. I said I had no issue with that, as strip clubs or strippers aren't really my thing, and same for her. I have nothing against people in the field, just not for me. Anyway, our nights go without any problems, and then she comes about a day later. Everything seemed normal, and we have continued to finish up the wedding. We are getting married in October, so it is coming up. Well, anyway, over the weekend, took me some time to process. My buddy calls me and asked me to come over to help him with something. No problem. Anyway, I get there, and we work on the little project he needed help on. Only took about an hour. I said to my buddy, I think you could have done that on your own, dude, as a joke. He says, yeah, but this isn't really the reason I had you come over. I asked him, then what am I here for? He takes me into his home, where his wife, a good friend of my soon-to-be ex, is sitting at the table crying. I asked, dude, is she okay? He says, yeah, but she has something to tell you. His wife just says, I am so sorry. She goes on to tell me that the day of their party, they went to the spa and the winery, but they made a detour on the way back to the hotel. They went to a strip club. Apparently, a girl from college my soon-to-be ex is good friends with, who for which I have never cared for, had been wanting to go to the club. She had been telling my soon-to-be ex that she really wanted to go, and the others all day. My soon-to-be ex and my buddy's wife were like no, but all the other girls were insistent. Anyway, they apparently get my soon-to-be ex really drunk at the winery, and she says verbatim, screw it, let's go to the club and see some hot guys. My buddy's wife goes, but mainly to make sure my soon-to-be ex doesn't do anything too stupid. They get to the club, and they do the normal strip club stuff, throw money at guys and drink. Well, her friend from college whips out a hat and some furry-looking thing, and says, we have a soon-to-be wife here, she needs one last good night of fun. She then proceeds to get some stripper over there, and is throwing money at the guy to give my soon-to-be ex a lap dance. Like I said, it is whatever, but I do not like the lying. I said, even though I am not happy about the lying, that really doesn't bother me. My buddy says, tell him the rest. She goes on to say that he took my wife into the back room for a private dance for all the girls. Anyway, my buddy's wife declines and goes back to the car. But after about 10 minutes, she goes back in to see what is going on and see my soon-to-be ex blowing the stripper to completion, with her friends cheering her on. Now, I swear this isn't some BS crap made up, like the stuff you see on adult sites, where the stars are taken women. My soon-to-be ex literally blew a stripper. My buddy's wife took pics and a video to cover herself. When this eventually came out, no one has a clue. I asked her to send them to me, and she did. I told them thank you and left. I called my brother, because he was the only person I could think to call in that moment. I knew my brother did some bouncing when he was younger, but I didn't know he worked at strip clubs. And he said that was all too common. He said male strippers are actually encouraged to have the female visitors touch them, as they will stay longer and spend more money. He said, I don't like to think about how many men are raising some stripper's kid. This was a few days ago, and I have been trying to act normal around my soon-to-be ex. She has no clue what is going on, but I think she is beginning to suspect some things. We both have very high libido and do it almost every day, and we are both very affectionate. I haven't showed my soon-to-be ex any affection or done it with her. I told her I have just been busy with work, the wedding, and not feeling the best. Although, she has been asking if everything's okay. And do we need to talk about something? I have just blown it off as my mind just has a lot going on. Anyway, I have already made my decision to leave her. I just need some advice on what to do next. The house we live in is mine, and she is not on anything. We have separate bank accounts and have no kids. I just need some advice on canceling everything, letting people know, and basically kicking her out the best way with the least confrontation. I want nothing to do with her after this, and for me to move on. Plus, for those that I am sure will see it as one drunken mistake, shut the hell up. Alcohol does not make you do things without your control, it makes your impulses stronger. Hence the saying, sober thoughts are drunk actions. Plus, now I wonder if she has done this before and I just don't know. I have no trust in her and never will again. I have now lost my best friend and soon-to-be wife. Thank you to any and all for any helpful advice you can give. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. Dude, run. So she has a high drive. Cool, but to blow a stripper to completion with her friends watching cheering her on. And you have pics and video. Dude, what kind of hillbilly garbage is this? I do not know her, but I have zero respect for her. Her friends cheering her on. Wow, nice friends. Run, run, run. This is not on you, and I am sorry, but cancel all of it and tell her to walk. She is bad news. God, just gross man. I don't know about hillbilly trash, but I never expected this out of her. Hurts too, as I was friends with some of these girls in school since we were kids. I just need to figure out the best exit with the least confrontation. I know if she cries in front of me I may break. I can't and won't, but it will be hard for me. I am sorry. Sure, she will cry and beg, dude. But if she is really that idiotic to think one of her friends who was there cheering her on would not spill the beans at some point, and you would not find out. Well, and she is acting okay around you like no big deal. Man, she is cold-hearted. Sorry, dude, she is trashy. She has probably cheated on you in the past due to this type of craziness. Sure, you take her back, but would you ever kiss her again? The dude finished in her mouth. I don't care how long you have known her. Unacceptable. You will never ever get over this. Better it happened before you were married. So I am harsh, but what an act of betrayal, man. So sorry. That is what has me wondering, but it really doesn't matter at this point. No, I could never kiss her. Even though it doesn't matter, he didn't finish in her mouth, but that is just playing semantics. Yeah, I'm done. Just sucks because I have had her in my life longer than I haven't. What makes my mind go crazy is that my buddy's wife went home after that. Even so, she doesn't even know what happened after. But it really doesn't matter. Damn man, what the hell? I feel for you, my guy. But I think you're making the right move by dropping her. She didn't want you to have strippers, and you respected that, but she goes and does what she does. Screw that. Keep us updated on what happens. Stay strong, my brother. Yeah, she just came down to tell me she is going to see that one friend over the weekend, so who knows what she is doing now. Going to take this as my chance. Yup, put her stuff out. Let her parents know and then change the locks. Maybe give yourself a weekend trip too with the fellas. And let her sweat buckets. That was really hard for me to read, man. Damn. Sorry for the difficult read. Just glad she is leaving. Probably going to move her stuff together on Friday. Have my brother send out the message and tell her dad to come get her things Saturday. Then have myself a good long cry and just to pick up my life from there. Edit. Soon-to-be ex just came down to give me a kiss goodnight. No, I didn't kiss her, said I'm getting sick. And to tell me that she is going to see that one friend Friday and Saturday and will be back Sunday morning. Probably going to take this opportunity to get her things packed, change the locks, and cancel everything. Then have my brother call or message everyone the wedding is off. Will be funny when her friend gets the message while she is with her. Thank you to everyone for the kind words and advice. Edit 2. She was definitely drunk. However, high-fiving the one friend after she was done kind of takes away the whole accident. Really didn't think I would have to share that part. Now for the first update. Hey everyone, just want to say thanks for all the good advice and nice comments that 99% of you made. There are a few things I need to clarify though. 1. Yes, my soon-to-be ex was drunk, but had enough sense to high-five her one friend after finishing. 2. In the video, the stripper is not forcing her, but she actually stops and then keeps going after. 3. I thought all clubs were both male and female, and just varied on night. 4. Buddy's friend did not plan to blackmail my soon-to-be ex. She took the video, which was only like 18 seconds, and few pics. She knew this would come out eventually, and wanted to cover her behind with her husband. She saw that, and then ran. She didn't know any of the other girls, and was so surprised by what she saw, so she bolted out of fear. 5. I am not mad at my ex, just disappointed. And to those who say I can salvage this, she threw that away when she kept lying about it by not telling me. 6. Also, no, her friends did not ruin a perfect relationship. She did. I don't believe the girls wanted us to end. They are all single women in their late 20s, for which many think that casual hookups are fine. I have no issues with people who do it, it is just not for me. I think some people on here just think that every person has some malicious intent, and that the accused is just a victim of circumstance. People do messed up things sometimes of their own free will. 7. I have no intentions of blackmailing her or tell people the info, unless she wants to get nasty. 8. Lastly, no, I don't hate women. I actually defended many women from some jerks on the thread. These are few bad people. Not women, people. Now for a quick boring update. Anyway, I stayed up late on Reddit and went to sleep on the couch, for which I have for the past week. She got up to go to work, I took off today, and woke me up to give me a hug and a kiss goodbye. In my stupor, I said love you too, and gave her a kiss. Muscle memory is a thing, it seems. Although, I noticed no feeling with the kiss like I am used to. After that, I went back to sleep and woke up at 9. I got some breakfast, took a shower, and started packing her stuff up. To those who said I seemed odd that I'm emotionless, well, I cried a lot today. I have been in damage control and packing her stuff, and seeing memories of us made me just break. I have been blaring music that keeps my mind occupied. My poor neighbors probably know my favorite music as much as I do now. In the afternoon, I get a call from my buddy. Turns out my soon-to-be ex took a half day and went to their house to talk to her friend. Turns out, she is having an emotional breakdown. I am not going to get into all the details, but to hit the major points. 1. She's worried about me. 2. She knows I am not sick. She knows when I am sick and knows I am not. 3. She thinks I am getting cold feet about the wedding and is scared. 4. She is extremely worried that I won't sleep with her or kiss her at all. In her own words, I usually can't keep him off me, which is true, but recently he won't even touch me. Not even a hug. 5. She is wondering what is wrong and if my depression has come back worse. There is more, but that was the major point. She has no clue, my buddy's wife told me, thankfully. Then later this evening, actually just a little bit ago, she calls me to say she made it to her friend's place. The conversation was brief, but I could tell she was upset. To be honest, it hurt me to hear her like this, and I wanted to hold her, but I need to do what is right for me. You know that sound, like someone is holding back tears. That was her. She asked how I was feeling, and I said better. Then we talked about the wedding and everything, and just some other BS about work. She then says, love you, and I say okay, and say that I have food to finish, and don't want it to get burned. She says okay, and I tell her to be safe and have fun. She says she will, and that she loves me again, and I said bye, and she said bye. That is it. I know this is pretty boring, but that is what happened today. I will probably keep updating if I feel I need to for mental reasons. If not, thank you all for the help and advice. Edit. Many of you seem to think that she may have been so drunk that she may not remember. I am going to call my buddy's wife and ask her how drunk she actually was. Edit 2. Just got off the phone with my buddy's wife. She said that my ex was not sloshed or completely drunk when they left the winery, but was buzzed. She said that surprised her, that she said, let's go to the strip club. She said they kept drinking on the way there and drank a lot more at the club. She says she was definitely wasted, but not blackout drunk during the lap dance. I then asked her about possible drugging, as someone said. She said that she didn't see anything. Edit 3. Sorry for this, but I just miss my fiancé so much. I just wish she would have told me and we could have worked on it. I wish she would have told me and been remorseful. I just want my life back the way it was 2 weeks ago. I just want my fiancé home with me and for things to go back to normal. I'm about to call her and confront her. I just can't contain my emotions anymore. I know I shouldn't, but I can't help it. It is killing me not knowing. In my opinion, there's no going back. She can sense something is wrong, but she still leaves to spend time with that friend and doesn't confess. Sorry OP, but this is so heartbreaking. I think she's trying to see if anyone said anything, or if anyone has photos or something. Thank you. That makes everything worse. Instead of the truth, she's preparing a story or excuses if confronted. I am just guessing. For all I know, that could not be the reason. I am sure I will find out soon. You're probably right though. She didn't tell you she was going to take a half day at work to talk to the wife of your friend. So it does sound like she's fishing for information. She's feeling guilty and is really worried that you found out about her cheating, rightfully so. That is my guess. Also, wondering if she may be going to have another night of fun since we haven't been intimate for over a week now. Dude, my heart is absolutely broken for you. So sorry you have to go through this. Thank you for updating us. Please take care of your mental health during this. Good luck through this process. This weekend won't be easy. Let yourself cry and feel what you need to feel. Time will be healing through this process. Now for the second update. Thank you to all who have been so nice to me and helpful. More than likely, I will not update any longer and more than likely delete this account forever and stay away from here after this. Anyway, I called her. Took about 5 times before she answered. When she did, she asked if I was okay. Like an angry idiot, I basically just said that I'm just freaking peachy. What about you? Who are you banging now? She was confused. To which I stated I know about the stripper and I know about what she did and to just come clean. She burst into tears and says she knew I knew. I'm still crying because I can't believe she knew and didn't tell me. She said that yes, they went to the strip club and she got a dance. I said you got more than that. She admitted to what she did and said that she was really drunk and made a horrible mistake, but didn't know how to tell me. I was like, a mistake to let some dude finish on you and then celebrate with your friends. That sounds like a freaking celebration. I busted into tears about how we have been friends since we were kids, how she was the only woman I truly loved, and how I only wanted her and nothing more. She said, you are the best partner anyone could have, and that she is so sorry and want to fix it. I told her if she had told me from the beginning and showed remorse, but you didn't. I then asked, why are you at her house? She said that this had been planned for a while now. I was like, how come I didn't know? She put it on the calendar on the fridge, but I must have not seen. This was true, she did. I said, are you sure you aren't there banging anyone? She said no, really loud, and then I was like, how about before? How many times you cheated on me? She says this was the only one time she ever did that, and would never do it again. I went, how would you feel if got an oral by some random girl? Would you be okay with that? She was like, I could forgive it if you told me. I said, let's do it the other way. I ate some girl out, I had her stuff all over my face and mouth, and she finished on top of me. Then I came home and kissed you with that mouth. You'd forgive that? She said, I don't know. Just kept saying she is sorry, wanted to work on it. I told her that things are getting canceled tomorrow, and the wedding is over. Your stuff will be out of my house, and if you fight me on anything, I will release it to everyone. She kept saying to just listen. I said, fine, what? She says she was really drunk and that is no excuse. That I was the greatest guy in the world and we are meant to be together. That if it would help that I sleep with any girl I wanted and she would let me. I said, I don't want any girl, I want you. I just wanted to marry the love of my life and be happy. You ruined that. I said, screw your friend, screw you, and screw our life. She begged me to stop talking like that and she was getting scared of what I might do to myself. I said, you only care now because you don't have some strange junk in your mouth. What was it? He hotter than me, bigger than me, more abs, taller. What was it? She said neither. I am much hotter, she said, and bigger and better in every way. I said, so that is great to know. You messed it up for less than what you had. I said, oh, he doesn't wear makeup and nail polish, and probably some jack-off who puts himself in debt for stupid shoes or shirts, and some car he can't afford. She said I know that she loved I did those things, and thought it was attractive. Not likely, I said. None of your exes would do that. I guess I am just some sucker that thought some beautiful, kind, caring woman actually loved me. I am getting off and going to bed, and will have everything for you tomorrow. Have your dad get your things. She said, I'm coming home right now, and we are going to fix this and get things to the way they were. I just hung up. So yeah, I'm going to bed and hopefully don't have hangover in the morning. Thanks guys, bye. Now for the last update. Hello everyone, I am sorry for my actions last night. They were completely and entirely uncalled for. Even though I do not disagree with some of the things I said on the last post, they still weren't right. I would like to apologize for anything I may have said to those people. Even though I may not disagree, it was not right, and I am sorry. Also, any people who may have got into a textual altercation with anybody over the last few days, please message them and apologize. This is not why I came here. I came here for some honest advice and a smack in the face for what I need to do. So, please apologize to each other. I can't make you, but I implore you to do so. Thank you. Also, to clarify a couple things for some people. I never intended on sending the video or pictures of her actions to anyone. I am currently going to tell people we had a change of heart and are separating. I said that unless she badmouths me or tries to fight me on anything concerning my home or money, that I will not tell people of her actions. We don't live in a really small community or large community, but small enough to where if what she did got out, she would more than likely be released from her job and her career go under. I don't want to do it, but will if my hand is forced. Once everything is settled, the video and pictures will be deleted. Also, still don't know how this one is getting confused, but that one friend or her did not video the incident with the stripper. My buddy's wife did, when she came back in to see what was taking so long. When I mean cover her behind with her husband, she means that she knew this would eventually come out. So, when it did, her husband would be curious if she did anything like that as well. She wanted to show her husband that it was only my ex and that she ran out afterwards and went home. She couldn't hold it in any longer and knew the longer she kept it from her husband and I makes her just as bad as them. As the other few girls were single, it wouldn't matter for them. Lastly, only the one friend has called me, and I have blocked the other girls' numbers. To clarify, she called me a fag for my style choices. Said she wanted my ex to suck the strippers to see what a real man is like. Then she was going to take her out today and get her in bed with another guy to convince her to leave me. Well, she got her wish. I proceeded to say, well, we know why no man will ever want to be with you and just uses you for hookups. To clarify, she really wants to be a wife and a mom based on what my ex has told me. Then I hung up. For the update, I called my buddy after I got off here and told him everything. He called me an idiot and showed up shortly. I fell asleep and don't know much after. According to him, early this morning my ex showed up trying to get into my house and he told her to leave. He said he doesn't want to see you and you need to go back to your mom and dad's tonight. According to him, she listened, go into the car, and went to her parents. I eventually woke up late this morning to a message on my phone from her father. For anyone wondering, her father was married before. They got married very young and she cheated on him. He divorced with no kids or anything, so it was a clean break. Anyway, his message was very brief and to the point. All he said was that, I am sorry for my daughter's actions. I didn't raise her that way. I will respect any decision you decide to do. What time would you like us to come get her things? I give my ex the benefit that she at least told them the truth. I texted him the time to come and that everything was already packed and just needed to go and he just responded okay. Thankfully, I don't have a hangover and feel fine. I got cleaned up and have eaten breakfast. As me and my buddy finished everything, him, his wife, and my ex showed up. His wife and him walked up while she stayed in the car and refused to look at me. Her dad asked where the stuff was and I pointed and he began packing. Her mother asked if we could talk. I had calmed down and since she was always good to me, I said okay. She apologized for what her daughter did and gave me a hug and kiss on the cheek. She used to do this when we were younger too, as she always really liked me. She began to cry and so did I. She said, it is up to you what you want to do from here. I just want you to know she loves you so much and will do anything to fix this and regrets it with her life. However, what she did can be seen as unforgivable and I understand if it is. She then told me to stay safe and that I am a good man who didn't deserve this and gave me another hug and a kiss. They finished packing and were about to go when I noticed my ex began to have a crying fit. Her parents calmed her down and she got out of the car and came up to me. She asked if we could talk alone. I told her I will be videoing it for my own safety and she said that was fine. We came and sat down and she started crying and I did too. She said she was so sorry and that she will do anything if I would just forgive her. I said I can't do that. I was like, if you had told me right after and was remorseful, we could have worked on it. But you kept it from me and continued to hide it. She said she knows and has regretted it since that night. I mentioned the high five and she said my friends were cheering me on and I got caught up in the moment. As soon as I realized what I had done, I immediately shut down. You can ask anyone there. I quit drinking when we left the strip club. I got a shower and went to bed. They wanted to go to more bars and hang out with guys and play games and everything else, but I just wanted to forget that evening ever had happened. I hoped that I would forget and you would never find out. But you are right, I should have told you. She asked if there anything she could do, and I said no. I asked her, have you ever cheated on me before? We are already done, so it doesn't matter now. She swears that she has never cheated on me before and that this was the one and only time. I may be an idiot, but I do believe her. I mentioned her friend and what she had said about me and how she wanted her to do that with the stripper and get her laid today. She said that when she left, it woke her up and asked why she was leaving. She told her and she said, who cares? We will go find you a real man. She said, he is a real man that loves me for me and I have messed everything up. She then told her I was not a man and not a real man BS and she told her to F off and to never call her again. She said, you liked when I got that stripper to let you give an oral. She was like, you wanted that. Yeah, and I wanted to get you laid this evening. Forget him. You need a guy who doesn't wear makeup and paint his nails and stays at home for work. I guess because I don't work with my hands, I am not a real man. My fiancé basically said that I love those things about him and he has an amazing career and is better than all those guys. Then told her to never call her again and to leave her alone. She then asked, is there any chance of us rekindling in the future? I told her I can't predict the future, but I wouldn't bet your life on it. She gave me the biggest hug and I would be lying if I didn't want to hug her back and say it is okay, let's get married, but I didn't. She gave me a kiss, and then the worst part, I asked for the ring back. She begged and pleaded one more time with me, but I said, please, just give me the ring back. She took it off and handed it to me. I then told her I won't be releasing the video or pictures that I have of you. As long as you don't do anything that would negatively affect me, I am just going to tell people we had a change of heart. She told me thank you for being kind to me. Then went on about how I am the sweetest guy ever and how she messed up everything and is so sorry. She then said she would never talk ill of me, and even if she did, no one would believe her, as a joke. She then went, "Where did you get the evidence?" I said it doesn't matter. She said, "You're right, it doesn't." I told her goodbye and she said bye to me. She turned around one last time and said, "Please, I'll do anything." I said no, you should have told me. She tried to give me one more hug and a kiss, but put my hand and said, "Please just go." They left, and that is it. I have already canceled everything, and my buddy and brother are notifying everyone of the canceled wedding. Thanks to everyone. To be honest, this will probably get deleted once I get some normalcy back, and we'll delete it so that I will never see this again. But thank you to everyone. Also, please be kind to each other. This name-calling and battling out one another is not worth it and makes us less human. Please be kind and apologize to each other. I didn't want this to become a pick-a-side situation. I wanted this to be advice and help. But again, thank you to all. Reading this made me so sad. Sounds like they truly had such a beautiful friendship and relationship before. Cheating is so weird, throwing all that away for one act. Absolutely crazy. And you're not even getting anything out of it, lol. That's what I was thinking too, haha. Giving a strange man that isn't what I'd consider as particularly nice. But I guess being in a situation where everybody hypes you up and cheers on you while you are super drunk feels good. It was brought up in the comments to the original, but the friends' actions, all of them are really suspicious. The one crappy friend admits to trying to break them up, then the other friend just so happens to take pictures for her protection. Sounds like they all work together to get the girlfriend in a compromising position. What vile people. This reminds me of another post where a guy's friends took him out for a bachelor party, got him blackout drunk, and let some woman go down on him. Fortunately, he told his fiancée after Reddit advice, and his fiancée believed him.